and welcome to Tech Talk. I'm your host, Omar Shear, and this episode is a very special episode. We've divided it into two parts. It's not like the other Tech Talk shows that you've watched previously. This one, we're going to talk about a subject for the entire show, and then we will continue that subject on the next episode of the show. And that subject is the music industry. And I guess you're wondering why we chose the music industry. Well, the music industry, when I was growing up, in order to purchase a CD or a tape, in my time there were tapes and then later there were CDs, you'd have to go to the local store to buy it. And there were many big stores like Musicland and Sam Goody and these places that today they don't exist at all. And the reason for that is because the music industry has had a serious decline in record sales because of the pirated music online. So this is our theme for today, even though we do not promote the music industry at all. But we wanted to bring this subject up to let you know that there is definitely an opportunity online to do things that are related to digital audio like MP3s, whether it's Quran or it's some nasheeds or lectures or things of this nature, that definitely online there's an audience for this. And as Muslims, we need to push and promote those Islamic audios and Quran especially to the people that are there on the internet. So just think for a minute, if an entire industry, a huge industry like the music industry has been affected by people downloading the songs and things online, then what about other forms of media that are online? Now, today I have a very special guest. I really love this brother for the sake of Allah. His name is Omar Dubois. Did I pronounce your name right? And today we're going to talk to him about this subject because he was involved in the music industry prior to him accepting Islam. And also this is a very sensitive subject because many people don't know that your children are online downloading this music. And there are very few alternatives to this. The Quran is definitely an alternative, but we see that many people in the streets in different cities, especially in the Middle East, they will rather listen to music than listen to the Quran. And one time, a person was asked in the Middle East, if you didn't have music, what would you listen to? And this person replied, I would listen to the Quran. So the Quran has become secondary to the music. So what is it about this music that's making people lean towards it like this? So without going into too many details to at least leave some input from our guest, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about this subject with Brother Omar. So, Brother Omar, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now, so tell us your experience with the music industry, what got you into the music industry, and what did you accomplish there in the music industry?
Well, as you know, I started singing very early as a child, and that led me to later going and moving to LA to pursue a music career. I ended up signing to Def Jam, Ireland Def Jam Music, and my experience on there, you start to see things from the inside that you don't really see on the outside. So people think it's one way when it's really another. And especially in regards to the personalities you start to run into. The personalities I ran into were now people that, being that I was new on the label, they like you, for example. When people realize you're not putting out anything or you're failing to do something, then they shy away from you. So you're dealing with basically a lot of fake personalities. This is what I want to say.
Well, let me ask you something about that, because nowadays many of the youth, they take these artists as role models and they look up to these artists. I mean, have you met any of these artists? I mean, would you say they're worthy of being a role model? I mean, whether you're Muslim or not, I mean, are they worthy of that status?
I wouldn't say they're worthy of that, because many of the people that I know personally, and I still know many of them, and I'm in touch with a few of them. Many of them that I know, they're not happy with their lives. And this is what people have to understand. What they see on TV is another thing. This is why I brought up fake personalities, because it's not real. What they're showing the people on the camera is not real. A person may be smiling and, you know, laughing, but inside that person is aching. Because he wants to, maybe that person is performing every night, every single night, and just wants to go home and rest. Or maybe the paparazzi are following these people around every single day with cameras, trying to spy on them. So their life, many of their lives are, it's not good for them.
Let me ask you a question about how they develop an artist. Can an artist be himself, or is it that because it's a business, do they basically tell the artists what they should be or how they should look at these type of things?
We can use me for an example.
Okay.
When I was on Def Jam, the people wanted me to be someone that just sat down and, you know, at the time I was playing guitar, and I don't advise anyone to do it. They wanted me to sit down and do these things.
Right.
They saw me as an artist, you know, that did these type of things. I don't want to name names of artists so people go look them up and see who's this artist. But they envisioned me to sit down and play the guitar and these type of things. And I was a total opposite of that. I wanted to be someone that was more conscious. They wanted me to do songs that I didn't want to do. They wanted me to do songs that were more like lovey-dovey, and I wanted to speak about real issues.
Right, yeah.
I wanted to speak about things that I saw going on in the news. I wanted to speak about things that were going on with families, things that I saw in the real world.
Right.
You know, these are the issues I wanted to talk about, and they felt like if I was to speak about these things, I was being too old of an artist. You understand? So,
right.
These are the things I dealt with personally.
Would you say that the industry is really looking at it from a selling records standpoint, or do they have another agenda when they develop these artists? What I mean by that is they say, okay, that what you want to do is not going to sell records, but this, based on these figures or whatever, this would definitely sell records. Do you think they come from that perspective, or is there do you believe there might be some type of hidden agenda with it?
Absolutely, they're coming from that perspective of they want to, whatever is hot, whatever they feel is good at that time, that's what they want their artists to imitate. And that's why you find the same sounding songs coming out over and over and over and over again, because they're going to bring them out until they notice that the sales start dropping. Oh, the people are not really feeling that anymore, so we got to do something different.
Right.
So if you know, if this artist is hot at the time, they want their artist to imitate this artist. That's exactly how it is. If a person's coming in with something new, they very rarely want to have anything to do with it. You know.
So let's talk about this internet phenomenon, and that actually literally destroyed the music industry. And it started with a company called Napster, and this was years ago. I don't remember exactly when it was, but Napster started sharing files online and sharing music and sharing these different things, and it really hurt record sales. When you entered the industry, where was this at? I mean, were they aware of what was going on, or how were they trying to deal with this internet?
Well, when I was in the
piracy issue.
Well, when I was in the offices many times, and the office I used to visit was in New York, I noticed it was a time where these things just started really getting there, you know, planting the roots. The roots were planted, you know, and they started building up to the point where I used to overhear conversations of, you know, record labels having to join forces with the people to even get a cut. And this is why you see many record companies today that they're only very little of them around right now, of the major record companies that were around even at the time I was present in the music industry. They have merged together in order to even make money, because they're doing horribly.
that's
in
good,
regards
in a
to
sense.
music sales and things. So that's a good thing. but
It gave the rise to people doing things, self-producing their recordings and things like
Yeah,
that, and then
yeah.
distributing them online.
Yeah,
Which at one side it's a good thing that this industry is collapsing, but on the other side now it's more accessible. Like
Yeah,
different
it's more
types of things
accessible.
are more accessible, and now children can go online, go on YouTube, and just type in whatever, and
Yeah.
then find these artists and their videos and everything.
yeah, these are the problems.
So
we
I
run
mean,
into.
let's talk more about you and what you're doing, and how do you think what you're doing can help to curb some of that attention? I'm talking about for Muslim children now,
Okay.
from getting the Muslim children to realize how these things are affecting them and drawing them into something that's halal. Yeah.
One of the things that project that I'm working on now is in the works, website called OmarProjects.com.
MashaAllah.
And this website aims to invite people to all different types of media projects that I'm involved in, whether it be nasheed, shows that I'm working on, with the aim and objective to get the youth, and it's particularly aiming towards the youth, get them to start to focus more on the importance of seeking knowledge, the importance of reading the Quran, the importance of obeying their parents, all the things that are everything that is that is involving good. I want to invite them to that.
With that, we have to take a break. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll be back with more of Omar and his project after the break. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll see you then, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back to Tech Talk. As you know, we have a very special guest today, Mr. Omar Du Bois, our brother. And before the break, he was telling us about his project, so I'll let him continue. So tell us more about your project and what you're involved in now.
Basically, this project, with this website, this beautiful idea, inshallah, we pray that Allah blesses it. I want to invite the people to all different types of good, because one of the things I want to focus on is Islamic media, whether it be nasheeds, whether it be shows for the youth, people that it may be as difficult for them to watch lectures, for instance. I want to strike a balance for them so that, inshallah, they're able to sit and watch a lecture now, without having to feel that pressure or feeling like someone's judging them or pointing the finger at them. Some things making it fun for them to learn in certain ways, inshallah. And
So you'll have various projects on here, not just one
Yes.
thing, because I know you're known for the nasheeds,
yes,
but you'll try to venture off into other
absolutely,
multimedia projects.
absolutely, multimedia projects.
Now, let me ask you something. You've been recording for a long time, and you know that a song has many different elements in it.
Yeah.
Maybe the listener, he won't pay attention to it. So how can you do that and make it interesting to the ear of a teenager or an adult that's used to listening to some musical stuff? Like, how do you make it attractive? Do you know what I mean?
I understand what you mean.
How do you make your nasheeds attractive and not just?
For me, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with a voice, and I want to utilize it. And I think for the most part, you have to learn to be creative with your voice. Learn to be creative and not cross, of course, still not cross the Islamic boundaries in regards to that, but make it attractive enough where they can feel like it's something similar, but especially in regards to what the context of the song is. This is even more so of my focus.
Right.
What am I talking about?
Right.
What am I inviting the people to?
Right. Yeah.
Because even people, we'll expound on the whole aspect of even what's going on in nasheeds later.
Okay.
But we can say something is nasheed, but what are we talking about in the song? What are we inviting the people to?
Right.
And that's very important.
I mean, from what has been the feedback from people that have listened to the nasheeds and everything that you've done, or the work that you've done? I mean, has anyone said, you know, it's not good, or, I mean,
I've done things, and sometimes I've had sisters come up to me, and some of the shuyukh that I've done events with, and some of them came up to me crying. Some of them, you know, because something may touch them, and vice versa with the brothers. For instance, I had my song "Shyness."
Okay.
You know, brothers came up to me after that, really appreciating a song like that, because they've never heard something really addressing them in that manner, speaking about these things. So, I just like similar idea that I had even when I was a non-Muslim. I wanted to talk about issues, real issues. Now Allah has blessed me with Islam, and I can speak about these same issues, but now I have a different vision of them and take them in a different direction.
So let me ask you something, like going back to the the music industry subject, and you're dealing in the music industry. What would you say? What advice would you give to someone, a Muslim teenager that's online, downloading the latest songs and this and that? What, I mean, maybe he doesn't. You know how we can harm ourselves, you know, in right now and not realizing until later,
Right.
Like with the effect that this might be having on us. What advice would you give to him to help him to change that? Maybe to stop listening so much to this and to get off into the Quran, or get off into maybe some nasheeds that are beneficial to, you know, to help him get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What advice would you give that person?
I would advise him, number one, I would ask the person, okay, that which they are listening to, what are they speaking about in the song? What are they inviting you to in the first place? Because most songs out there, and we don't, even before we get into the instrumental aspect, dealing with the instruments and the things, what are they inviting you to? Most of the time is inviting them to zina, alcohol, drugs, bad manners. This is majority of the time what they're inviting them to. Haram love, you know. And I would ask that person, how does a person feel when they listen to it? You know, and vice versa. How does a person feel when they recite the Quran? Because it's a totally different feeling.
That's right.
That's involved.
Yeah.
You know, they have a similar objective to grab the heart of the person, but they do different things.
Right.
They do totally different things. As you know, I know, because I was involved in these things deep.
Yeah.
So they do totally different things. I would advise the person, maybe stop listening to music. Don't listen to music for 3 days and see how the heart starts to feel. And just listen to Quran and see how the heart starts to feel. A person will realize that they don't need it.
Yeah.
They will realize that they don't need it. It's just like you said in the beginning. People listen to it now, replacing the Quran.
Yeah.
So obviously a person should realize that's a problem.
That's definitely a fact, especially when you go to the Muslim world, unfortunately. You know, now there's something else here that I think many people don't take into consideration, and that is the lyrics of a song, like you mentioned. That can you listen to those lyrics without music? Like especially the filthy lyrics. Like most people wouldn't listen to it at all, and it probably hurt them inside to hear some of the things that people say. But when you add music to it, it becomes something that they like to listen to.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, in your opinion, I mean, what is it about that? Is it, you know, I know this might be going a little deep because I'm not a musician,
right?
But obviously, like lyrics to bad music is different than you can take the same lyrics and put it towards good. What would they be considered good music to them?
Right.
And it changed the whole.
It changes the whole thing. Right.
So what is it really? Is it that we were really listening to lyrics here, or are we listening to the music itself?
I'll tell people things that the people don't understand because without getting into rulings and things like this, if I was to sit in front of even a scholar who thinks, who maybe his opinion, he says that it's permissible.
Right.
I guarantee you, if I sit in front of him and I tell him the things that I experienced from it, maybe he'll say that, no, this is haram. Because the effect that even if a person sits in front of you and plays the guitar, I know from being a former guitar player, and I actually watched a video of Dr. Bilal Phillips just last night. It's funny we're sitting talking about this, because I watched a video of him when he was trying to explain to people the effects of it, because he himself used to be a lead guitar player. And people don't understand the effects. The effect, it is like a type of hypnosis. It's something that grabs you, and we can only imagine what's going on in the unseen. Dealing with the shayateen, what happens when people start to become hypnotized by these things. And even if you're just to play the instruments alone, it pushes a person to maybe want to fornicate. These type of things, wanting to commit zina, just from listening to these things. And people say, oh, what about jazz? People that ask questions. Jazz may be the most dangerous because it has the most musical instruments involved, even without a voice or anything. It's the instruments that has this effect on people,
So, so in dealing in the music industry and dealing with the people there and the habits of the people there, if it's something that you want to tell people.
It's something very important. You just mentioned, what are the habits of the people? When people enter these environments where they hear music and these different things, think of it like this. When you're in the masjid, what do you have? The Quran playing, people making salah. If you were to go into a nightclub, wa'udhu billah, when they're playing music, what do you see there going on? What is happening in the environment? People are dancing. People are drinking alcohol. People are doing drugs. So in one environment, it's like you can say this is the masjid for the shayateen. Well, on the other hand, you have a masjid, a place of worship that is for Allah. A place of worship that is for Allah. And you have a place of worship that is for the shayateen. You have the Quran playing. And you see why many of the ulama used to say in the past that this is the Quran of the shaitan. It's clear. It was clear to me before I even started to read things.
We have to wrap things up.
Okay.
But I really appreciate you coming down Tech Talk. But here's the last point before we end everything. The Quran. The difference between a person that studies the Arabic language and a person that doesn't understand the Arabic language at all and listening to the Quran. What would you advise the person that says, well, I don't understand the Quran? How can they become accustomed to listening to it and not understanding what's being said in it?
I would ask this person, is not the Arabic language accessible these days, especially this day and time? You can start to learn Arabic online. There's so many ways. It's as if Allah is removing all the excuses from us as individuals. If we want to develop that closer relationship to Allah, we should strive to want to know the Arabic language, because this is something. If our most dearest person wrote us a letter, a person that we knew wrote us a letter in the Arabic language, and something happened to this person, the person was never able to speak to us directly anymore, we would go learn that language to try to see what he was saying to us. Why not learn the language to know and understand what Allah wants from us and what Allah is requesting from us, That would lead us to Jannah. SubhanAllah, there's nothing like the Quran.
That being said, this has been a beautiful episode of Tech Talk with our brother Omar Du Bois, and we have a part 2 of this show, because we could talk on and on and on about this issue. So inshallah ta'ala, join us for part 2 of this next week, inshallah, where we will discuss the nasheed industry, which is something that many people don't know about. And we will discuss in depth with the brother and his experiences, inshallah ta'ala. So don't miss the show, Tech Talk, next week. I'm your host, Omar Shear. Don't forget to visit us at huda.tv/Tech Talk and send us your comments at techtalk@huda.tv. With that being said, I say to you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ah